What's up, guys? Philly Soccer Page Post-game show. I'm Mike Servideo here with Kevin Kincaid. Union fall 2-0 to NYCFC. It's now 4 straight losses, 2 losses at home, 14 games without a win. What do we talk about from here, Kev?
We could do the same post game as we did last week, but we've kind of talked through all of that before. I think if you start from the beginning of this game, the way that they came out, Roland Alberg was in there.
Needed lineup changes.
Yeah, needed lineup changes. Alejandro Bedoya came back to the 8. Derek Jones went to the bench, and then Jack Elliott for Gucci Onyewu, which I think is kind of different. But just talking about maybe tweaking things personnel-wise to kind of give him a little bit of a kick. I think Jim did that.
Yeah.
Roland Alberg, some people said, didn't finish with a shot on goal, didn't do this, didn't do that, whatever. He played a long diagonal that was knocked down for Ilsinho that led to a shot on goal.
From Bedoya, yeah.
He had the best through ball that I've seen a Union player play in a while. He had 2 instances where there's one where Ilsinho chipped the ball over top that he just barely couldn't get onto, another one where CJ laid the ball off to him where a defender got over in the nick of time. I didn't think Roland played that poorly. No, he didn't have an impact, but when we're comparing it to the lines that Bedoya was put in there as the number 10 the last couple of weeks, I really don't think Roland, there's really that much worse or that much different. I don't know. Just they finished with what we 2
shots on goal, none in the second half.
2 shots on goal, none in the second. 11. New York 16 shots, Philly 11, 7 on target for New York, 2 for Philly, and yeah, that was it. They just couldn't. And more so they say about the tactics or the shape. Yeah, maybe they could have played 2 up top. Maybe they could have done this or that or whatever. It looks like a team that just doesn't have a ton of chemistry.
Yeah.
Going forward, doesn't have a lot of ideas going forward. I do think there's some talent there, but at this point, I don't even really know.
I think the NYCFC goal, the first goal, comes in the 51st minute, so it's right after halftime, and you could feel the life come out of the stadium. I thought the fans turned again. I thought the life came out of the team, and there was no fight after that.
It was almost like people were waiting for it, wasn't it? Because you get that sense with a lot of Union games last year and the year before, even when they were playing well, they would maybe get that goal, and then the failure was to sort of double the lead or capitalize on it, and then they let the other team back into the game. But they have that good surge in the first 30 or so minutes where they come out and they play reasonably well. New York's going to play ride or die with Sean Johnson playing the ball out of the back on his feet. They pressed well. They turned him over in a lot of areas, created an opportunity, I think, off that one press where Alberg rolled the shot wide. And they came out with a decent game plan, and they were playing well. But, then it doesn't come. And you can sit there, and it's palpable, right? The fans are just sort of waiting for that moment to happen. They know it's going to come. And, you really could feel it just sort of deflate the whole building. And then they sort of played with this anxiety, whereas like the weight on their shoulders was a lot more when that happened.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't create a good scoring opportunity after falling behind, and with almost 40 minutes left in the game. I mean, where is the indictment there? Is that the players not having chemistry? Is it the coaching staff failing to motivate? Is it a failure on everybody?
One of the things that Dave and I were talking about this week on the podcast was the idea that even if Jim is hesitant to try certain things because he doesn't believe in it necessarily, my idea is that if you put that out there and give the fans evidence of it, if it doesn't work, then at least they see that you're trying that, or they now have evidence to see that doesn't work. So I still think at the end of the game when he brought Simpson on and moved Sapong out to the left, and brought Najim on when maybe that wasn't the best spot for him to make an MLS debut. Where I think in this case it was the same thing. I think he did it at the beginning of the game with putting Alberg in the lineup when maybe he didn't really want to. So then let fans see if it works or not. You then absolve yourself, I think, of blame and responsibility when you actually try these things and show, hey, I'm doing it, and it's still not working. And then that shifts the blame on maybe the players aren't good enough, or maybe there's not a lot of chemistry, or maybe Ernie didn't bring good enough players in. But I think Jim heaps it all on himself, and feels like he would rather go down in flames trying to do the same thing over and over instead of just trying something different and letting everybody else see if it works or not.
Jack Elliott, his first MLS start tonight in the center back. What did you think of his performance?
I guess we kind of failed as a press corps, didn't we, asking specifically why he was in there? But I think Jim later explained that he had a good preseason. He was playing well in practice or whatever. I didn't think that Aguchi had that bad of a game against Portland. I think he won most of his battles against Fernando Adi, and the one that he lost led to a free kick goal. But Jack Elliott was fine in the first 30, 35 minutes or whatever. He had the yellow card tackle on David Villa. It's a tough assignment for
it is.
your first MLS start. But again, it's a tough spot for a rookie. And there were times in the second half where they just couldn't really get the ball out of the back. That like 10 minutes after the first goal, that Harrison goal, where they just looked out of sorts. But even then, he wasn't. Say whatever you want about the 53-yard chip from David Villa. What do you want? But Keegan Rosenberry committed the turnover on the first goal, and then Richie Marquez was ball watching and stepped and held and didn't look over his shoulder to see Jack Harrison behind him. People wanted to blame Fabinho for that. It's not entirely his fault because Marquez is the near guy, and you have a two here with just one defender. So all told, when you look at the culpability for the goals, the second one you can't really put it on anybody. The first one, it didn't have anything to do with Elliott.
One of the other stories that we've seen, and I've seen a couple people talk about this on Twitter with us, is the subpar play from Keegan Rosenberry at the right back position this year. It seems like he's taken a large step back after a sensational rookie year last year. What is all going wrong with him? I think there was some talk that he wasn't able to get forward enough because he's playing too close to Gooch.
Mm-hmm.
Elliott comes in today. I didn't think Rosenberry was improved at all.
I don't think it changed anything necessarily because I don't think Elliott's the most mobile guy, is he? But Keegan, is it a little bit of Jack McInerney, Gold Cup 2013? Yeah. Maybe gets the call up, sees what it's like to play at the highest level, and gets sent home early. So what? No big deal. That happens. And then no combination sophomore slump and taste in the national team, and then maybe I don't know. Maybe it's those factors all kind of contributing to one thing. But uncharacteristic. Just wasn't really passing the ball well. Wasn't hitting the mark with a lot of things he was trying to do. Had the turnover on the goal. Yeah, just a bad time to not really be playing that well. But it's not just. Going along with that, he was one of the people that was playing well last year. Andre Blake played pretty well, I think, for the most part in this game. Earlier in the season, Andre wasn't playing at the same level that he was last year. Chris Pontius isn't playing at the same level he was last year. A lot of guys who were good for them early in the year last year and who were contributing to their success have all kind of taken a step back at the same time.
There was video before the game, interview at ESPN with Ernie Stewart, where he publicly backed Jim Curtin, which we
is that his cousin?
Yeah,
Jim Stewart.
We hadn't heard that from Ernie yet this year. What do you take of that? Do you take it with a little bit of a grain of salt? That's something that the sporting director has to say. He has to back the coach in that situation. Did he have a chance to maybe light a fire under Jim and didn't do that? Is Jim's job still safe?
It sounds like it's safe. It sounds to me like that they consider last year, Ernie's first year, as kind of the first year of the franchise. Like his Union 2.0 starts here. And everything that happened before then, the Nick Sakevich years, we're just going to pretend they didn't exist. Which is fine. If you want to look at it, Union 2.0 internally, that's one thing. But fans have been sitting here watching a crappy product for 6 years prior. Yep. So that's they have to understand that. They have to be respectful of that or mindful of that also, that fans do not have the same patience that you guys might have in the front office. But that's okay. If Ernie wants to double down and say, hey, we're behind Jim and he's our coach going forward and we believe in him and whatnot, that's fine. But he's tying himself then together. His fate then is going to be the same, right? And more and more of the blame then is going to be shifting from Curtin to Ernie as he tries different things, plays Roland at the 10, maybe plays another striker, or maybe tries this guy or does this or does that. You're going to see, it'd start to come this way. And people are going to say, well, the players aren't good enough, or you have to go out and sign this guy, or, you have to pull the plug, right? You're going to see that shift. So it's okay. If they believe in Jim and they think he's the guy, that's one thing, but Ernie's going to pull him if Jim can't get him out of it, then Ernie's going to pull himself down at the same time by making that commitment to him. So.
Yeah, I think we'll wrap up there. Union back in action at home again next week. A game against Montreal Impact, another struggling MLS team. Afternoon kickoff at 1 p.m. We'll be here to cover that one. So we'll see you next Saturday.